What's up, guys? It's David coming at you from Organic Price Books, and here with a new release. I'm excited for it. People have been waiting for it. We finally got in the last of the three book part. Yeah, we finally got the last one, Lazarus. Book one, as you can see here, we were missing it. We had 2 and 3. I know people were asking, hey, when are you going to get it? We finally did get our shipment for it. It was delayed a little bit, but it's here now. We're sending all of these orders out, so you should be getting them. And we have a first look here. So this is pretty exciting. As you can see, we got all 3 books. Let me show you those in order. You got book 1. There's the front, the spine. Let me move this out of the way. And the back, very cool. And here's book 2, front, spine, and the back. The second collection. And book 3, front, spine, and back. Very cool. There's some details on this one that I like for the covers. Let me show you that. Some things I like, some things I don't like. But this is just personal preference. So for sure, well, let me show you actually this, all 3 of them together. As you can see, book 1 is definitely the thinnest of them. Book 2 and 3 are just about the same page, or they look like they're the same width page-wise. But yeah, for sure, one is thinner than the other 2. So obviously that's the first part. Kind of gets the ball rolling for the story, and the rest of it just finish it off. The thing that I want to say is, like, I kind of wish they would have picked they would have put the Lazarus logo, or on the top to match the other 2. As you can see here, these 2 have it up in the top, and then you got Forever here in the bottom, or underneath. But in this one, she's coming down, so the Lazarus is at the bottom, which is cool. I like this picture. I just feel like it breaks the consistency of it. It breaks that same, format that the other 2 have. That's just me. So that's just, I guess it's me being nitpicky. That's just David. Things I do like is the fact that you see the symbol here in the back for basically the Carlisle family. You see it right here, like it's good, like the DNA kind of thing. And then here it's kind of like broken, starting to break, and then back here behind her, it's fully broken already. That's cool. That's attention detail that I like. It kind of reveals what's happening to the story of the Carlisle family as the story goes on. Very cool. So yes, we finally have all 3. We're going to start shipping them out. Let's go ahead and jump into the book so you can see a little bit of what it looks like. I'm probably going to do book 1 just so I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. So we'll start off with, I'll just show you what book 1 looks like on the inside. And let's take a look. All right, guys, so let's just do a quick sneak peek or first look into the Carlisle Lazarus set. Like I said, I'm only doing book 1 right now just because, doing book 2 and 3, it's going to take forever. And it's going to it's going to have spoilers for it, and I don't want to do that to people who want to read it, So if you've never read this, Lazarus tells the story of basically Forever Carlisle, and she is a Lazarus for her family, of the family Carlisle. So Lazarus is basically like a super soldier, like regenerative, deadly assassin. She has super strength, super healing, an insane ability to fight. Her everything is monitored, like everything, like all her vitals are monitored to make sure she's an optimum performance. So she's basically bodyguard, assassin, protector. She quells rebellion. And this is in a world where corporations basically own the world. There's no presidents, there's no governments. All the world is divided up into different organized corporations that rule it, basically like a royal family, and they control. The family is like the main. There's 3 levels. The family, serfs, which are like the people who work for them. The army, scientists, all that stuff, and then they call everybody else, who basically like works the land and stuff, waste. If you're waste, you basically are nothing. You're just like it says, it's waste. You can be replaced. You are disposable, and you serve only for the family to get even wealthier. You're their resources, practically. So we come into the story as Forever is having to deal with a possible attempt at their location or their territories, and how she has to maneuver between relationships with the other families and their Lazaruses, which you get to see a little bit of here of the Moray Lazarus, which is part of the Mexico one. And it kind of gives you some of the background of what happened to it in this book, which is really, really cool. But you kind of see also like these families, what they have to suffer through. Basically, if you need any help, you have to ask the family for it. And if you do, you're basically in debt for the rest of your life, as well as your children's life. So, you know, it's not easy. I mean, it's kind of like we're living in now anyway. But it's now controlled by organizations, governments. They were basically, they gave up control for it. And there's this part in this book later on that shows that, and it's really cool. The artwork on this looks amazing, as you've been seeing. It looks great, very expressive, and very realistic in a sense. It's not comic book. It's very much, the proportions are very lifelike, which is great. Same as goes for the fighting and all that. I really like that. Obviously, besides the aspect of the regenerative properties of the Lazarus, it's pretty much like life, you know, as real life as you can probably get, which is great. I like that aspect, which makes it hit home even more. It's very believable in that aspect of how it came out like that. So this is where it kind of stops. These are some of the extras on Volume 1, so it gives you a little bit of her character design and all that. But let me show you what I wanted to show you. So this right here kind of starts to break down in the world building right here. Greg Rucka does such a great job. But this is kind of what the world is broken up into, as you can see. Instead of actual countries, it's territories for the family. So this is the Carlisle. They basically own like part of all of Canada, most of it, and some of like, I want to say like the Midwest to western part of the U.S. And then Hawk, which is another family that they've kind of, their main rivals, I want to say, controls like a little part of the eastern seaboard, then another family, and then all the other families around here, which is crazy. It's crazy to think of, you know, just families ruling over this, but I mean, it used to be like that before. It gives you a detail of the different families and their leaders, their symbols as well, which is really cool. I really like that for world building. This is my favorite part right here. Down here at the bottom, it kind of gives you a timeline of the world. It's really focused on the Carlisle family, obviously, because this is her story. But my favorite part is just about right here, which kind of tells you what happened to the government. So a economic downturn led the world to basically have a collapse almost of their economy, of everybody's economy. So basically the 16 richest families decided, you know what, we're going to provide like a lifeline to the governments. But you kind of have to sign over the territories to us. It explains a little bit further there, which is great. And basically they took over. They bought out for example, in the U.S., they bought out the Supreme Court. They also bought out the Congress and took over. And then in the U.S., like the bought out Congress voted for a president backed by one of the families, which was Hawk. And then the other family, or the other president who had been elected rightfully, was like, oh no, we're not going to do this. We're going to not secede, but basically she's not going to give up her spot. I think it was a female president. And it kind of just goes from there, how basically both presidents were like, no, I'm the real president. No, I'm the right president. And both of them are backed by these families, these corporations that were providing not only money, but like security, weapons, all that stuff. And it led to basically a break in the U.S. government. The families took over all of that. There was no more government in a sense. So it's really cool. That to me is super interesting, that world building that affects the story in the sense of how it got there, but you don't get to see it, but you get to read about it, and I like that. I'm a big fan of history. I like reading like what happened, what led to this decision and that decision, and you get to see that here. It goes up to the year where the story takes place, which I believe is X42, X plus 42. So the event of that, the world collapse, I mean, it's called the X event. And then after that is the years change from regular use to X years. So that's really cool. That attention to detail makes this much more immersive story-wise. And then like even here, he writes how he wanted this stuff to be like things you would actually see people use. Like for example, the phone has on there the phone number and then the contacts to call and all that stuff. So he made it as realistic as possible because he wanted to be believable. And immersion definitely creates a sense of credibility. So that's really cool to see that on here. As well as the ads. So like these are some of the ads from the different companies like Hawk here and you know, different families doing their ads. But it looks like ads you would see on like a magazine or that pop up on ads on the internet. So that's that attention to detail that goes further than just the drawings, but you know, goes into the world building. So cool. So that is basically the beginning of the Lazarus story and the story of Forever Carlisle and how she you know, discovers what needs to be done. So that's really cool. If you haven't read it, I would definitely recommend you get it now that you can get all three of them together and finish off the story. Again, like I said, great jumping point, great sci-fi story, very realistic in the sense of what could happen to us here in the U.S. or in the world as we know it. And you're gonna have fun reading the story. I got sucked into it really well. This first one just sucked it in. I'm actually reading the second one right now. So very cool. Definitely want to see how it turns out for our girl Forever. And she's such a badass. So you know, if you like badass girls who can kick butt and have superpowers, if you like dystopian, you know, future governments, if you like you know, realistic or really good artwork and great storytelling, what's not to like about this? Get this at Organic Price Books, guys. Check it out. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.